All right, so while working on some other stuff, we were caught right in the middle of the RTX 4070 being released for $599, $600 or whatever. You can get, Best Buy and a few other places will have lower end models like a Gigabyte or the Founders Edition for $599. And I guess we probably need to talk about whether that's good or not. So $599, you're thinking, okay, this is the newest generation of video cards. We already know they're just ridiculously priced. The 3000 series, the 3070, 3080, and all that stuff were supposed to be at a better price point, but of course the conundrum happened, so nobody could buy anything. And now they're still kind of hanging up there. The 4070, 4080, 4090, 49, and all those 4070 Ti and all that, whatever NVIDIA's naming scheme has got going on, all of that stuff, all these cards are coming out. First of all, you got a problem trying to fit them in your computer. Second of all, their MSRP is a lot higher than normal or the previous versions. And in a case like this, you've got a 70 series card that's coming out for $600, where normally a 70 series card was for $500. The 3070, when it was announced, was supposed to be for $500. This is going to be for $600. Is this better performance 2.5, 3 years later than the 3070? Absolutely. It goes up against probably the 3080, which is a little bit of a bump, but if you're paying 20% more than the 3070, you would expect that performance to be above the next tier up from the previous generation. That's just kind of the way things go. So you would think that this would really be a much, much better performer than the 3080 would be. And if you're watching any of the reviews or anything like that, or seen anything in your inbox and have talked to anybody or seen or heard or whatever, you know that's simply not the case. It trades blows with the 3080. The problem there is, why can't I just go get an RTX 3080? Well, you can, but those prices are going to run you anywhere from, I don't know, $670 up to $1,000. It's weird right now, pricing on the RTX 3080, which is a generation ago, and that's because the prices are still, those prices never came down completely from the conundrum we were having. They leveled out a little bit, but they never really went down below suggested retail price. Now you've got a market price and a retail price. Retail price is, we say we're going to charge this much. Market price is, if you can't find it, you're going to have to pay more from somebody that does have it. So the market price gets set much, much higher in some cases. And it just never came back down. It came down, but it never came back down below the suggested retail price. So we're talking about, in some cases, trying to find a card that is more expensive, between, like I said, in some cases $700 or $800, that would be a competitor to this RTX 4070 for $500. The RTX 4070 does have some advantages. It does have DLSS 3.0, which is supposed to have a better AI processing, so that it actually generates frames to stick in between some of the other ones. So you get more frames per second in some cases where games have been optimized for that. Now, of course, my opinion, you can take it for what is, whatever you want to take it as. Sometimes developers get a little bit lazy and say, the optimization can take care of it, instead of actually having efficient code. And believe me, I do a little bit of software engineering on the side. So, I know about trying to make your code efficient. I also know about laziness. I don't like lazy. Not to say these guys are lazy, but a lot of times people are under the gun. They have to get something released. It's not complete. It's not full. And that's why you have patches all the time. In any case, the 4070 is more power efficient. It draws a lot less power than the RTX 3080, the predecessor that it compares to. 3080 is going to be more expensive. You should be able to find it, but do you stick with NVIDIA at this point? Because I'll tell you something. For that same $700 or $800 that you're looking at trying to find an RTX 3080 that would compare to this 4070, you can probably find a 7900 XT Or if you want to take a step back, last year's AMD or last generation's AMDs, it's the 6950 in particular, you should be able to find for $600 or $700. And that's a much, much better video card. Now, it might not be better in ray tracing or some of those other processes, but the drivers and everything have come out for the 6950 or 6900, 6950 that have made this a pretty good deal for just a little bit more than you're paying or would be paying for an RTX 4070. So where's your money spent better? Now, there are, like I said, some advantages. Your power bill in the long run is going to be less expensive. There's less power draw on the RTX 4070 than there is on any of the AMD cards of the previous generation. And yeah, so you've got things like ray tracing that are better and all that, but the drivers keep getting better on the AMD cards. So is this now the time when things start to shift a little bit and more people get more interested in just a better performing card for the same price? Or are we just going to stick with NVIDIA because we know NVIDIA and that's just what to expect? It's the cool thing. It's what the cool kids have. I don't know. If you're streaming or gaming or something like that and those things matter to you most, like the NVENC encoder, which is very, very good in NVIDIA, or ray tracing or any of those types of things, yeah, you're probably going to stick with NVIDIA. But if you're just looking for raw horsepower and you're just looking for something to play games at a high frame rate, yeah, maybe AMD's your gig right now. I'd be kind of curious. If you had the choice, if somebody gave you $850 to spend on a video card, what are you looking at right now? Considering or just thinking that, okay, everything's available, what are you looking at? Me, I have no idea. It's going to come to a point soon where I'm going to have to start upgrading some things. And quite frankly, I don't know what I'm looking at. So I'll be kind of curious for any input you guys might have. Sorry, it's not a very long video. I was in between, like I said, some other stuff, and the 4070 came out, and there was so much talked about this, about the price point being $600 when everybody felt it should have been about $500 to $550. That it really started to raise some eyebrows, especially when you're comparing to other cards that are stuck in this price range. What we haven't even talked about is the used market, because now you're going to have some of these 30 series cards and even some of AMD's last generation cards, the 6000 series, that are going to have to drop in price, especially the 3070s, 3080s and stuff like that, and maybe the AMD 6800, 6700 XTs or whatever. Some of those are going to have to drop in price by a fair amount, which might then make them affordable to us, the everyday guy. So maybe that's not such a bad thing that this comes in at $600, because that means that all that other stuff has to start squeezing in below that. And NVIDIA doesn't have a whole lot of room to put other cards, say if they're coming out with a 4060 or a 4050, they got to be priced somewhere. And so those used cards are going to have to also come down. So we'll see how that works out. But in any case, if you've got thoughts, or if you've recently bought a video card, or if you're holding out for this card, let me something down in the comments. Let me know. Let me know what your thought is. I'm really, really curious. And like I said, I'm getting to the point where soon, in the next couple of months, I'm going to have to be looking at a new video card to start trying to test, and for the editing rig and all of that. And I don't have a clue. I don't have a clue. Now, editing, I might be looking more at an NVIDIA for the encoder. But, I mean, I can also encode on H.264 using my processor and use the video card just for raw power playing games. So it's not a bad way to go either way, but it is a confusing time. There are a lot of video cards for a price range that's between, say, $600 and $850. There's a lot of stuff out there, and there's a lot of stuff in between. And that stuff that's going to have to come down to $300 or $400 is going to be looking pretty appealing. So, massive confusion. Any thoughts, anything like that, yeah, feel free to leave them down below. This is not a very long video. Sorry about that. But if you found it helpful at all, or you thought, any good thoughts about it at all, go ahead and, thumbs up. If you're not already subscribed, please do. Trying to go ahead and push for 700 on my way to 800, and then of course, getting eventually monetized. So don't be afraid to go ahead and hit the subscribe button if you're not already. And until I get back to some actual tech stuff, working, getting my hands dirty, and some other things and building stuff, that's. I'm just going to leave you with one other thing. Same thing I do every video, and that's just be nice to each other. Be kind. Smile, wave, hold the door open, say good morning, whatever. It can make a ton of difference in somebody's day, and you might not know if you were the one that had that influence on somebody's day to make their day better. And who knows? I mean, maybe you're that person that somebody does that nice thing or that kind thing to. Maybe somebody says hi to you or holds the door open. Think how it affects your day. Anyway, that is all I have for right now. I've got other stuff going on. I've got other stuff. Some stuff is working out well. Some stuff is not working out well. But we will sift through it all, and we'll get some videos going. And until then, leave me your thoughts about the RTX 4070 and the video card market. And if nothing else, tell me what video card you're rocking right now. I'm kind of curious to see what all is out there. And I have no idea what I'm getting next. No idea what I'm even looking at. Anyway, that's all I got for right now. So until next time, folks, I'll see you later.